lover. Got 11
Wait,
years.
say what? 11 years for what now? What is this? Tell me the story.
So
What?
there was
I was going to talk about fishing, but let's do this.
there's an auto parts store. It was down, crap, I can't remember. Somewhere around Badger Road or somewhere around there, that area. And this guy was having an affair with a man, a married dude. This guy's married to a woman.
Okay.
He's having a sexual affair with another man.
Okay.
Closet homosexual.
Okay.
The man they get in a fight with each other because he won't leave his wife and join him, and he's like, if you're stay in the closet, then you just need to stay there. If you want to be in a relationship with me, be in a relationship with me. Otherwise, go away, kind of thing. Well, the guy gets upset. He grabs a .22 rifle because he's afraid that this guy's gonna tell everybody that he's gay. Lays down in the tall grass across the street. And when the guy comes out of the store that he works at, he shoots him, kills him.
How have I never heard this?
No. But the guy got like 11 years in prison. That's
Wow.
it. It's like, it was just a gay? Oh, yeah.
I mean, the stories that I've always heard like that.
10 years.
There's a dentist who came upstate. He was from like Washington, California. Oh, he's California, right? Because that was what started this conversation. The guys were talking about how they hated when Californians would come up and hunt. They would allow them to hunt. And there are a few politicians and all, I guess, that were in the area that would not. They just were trying to find a way to keep it from happening because they had too many accidents and stuff. And they would always tell these stories, horror stories of hunting, And I don't know if I told the bear one. This guy is hunting moose. He pulls his trigger to kill a moose. This is the way that they were telling it to me, because in the end you're like, what? He pulls his trigger to kill a moose. A dude falls out of a tree.
So he's shooting up into the tree?
He heard a noise up in and we're talking up in a tree. The guy was on a stand
because
up
moose
in a
are
tree.
very known for climbing trees.
And that they were saying that like the guy is talking to the police, and the reporters were there and cameras were there and all that, I guess. But he was saying, I heard a moose and I got scared and I just pulled my trigger. I ran up, and they're like, you shot up into a tree.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any qualms about what he had done. He was just like, I just got panicked and scared. Of course, he's freaking out because he killed somebody. Yeah. And, things like that. Like there was another person who came up there and he'd rented a convertible. It wasn't anything fancy or anything great. It was just a little convertible 2-door car. And he's flying down the road on the highway, which is just a 55-mile-an-hour highway all through Alaska.
2 lanes.
Miserable, 2 lanes.
It's got 2 lanes.
It's the worst thing to get stuck behind. But you have to watch. It's got a lot of curves and turns. And a couple of times, in my experiences I've seen, I remember one time we were up there with our uncle, and I was like, you're driving a bit fast. Like, you don't want to hit these corners too fast. He's like, because it's like a 6-hour drive back, we were fishing. And he's like, oh, okay. We come around this corner, there's like 20 moose just hanging out on the road. He's like, I see what you mean. He said, it scared me to death because I was in the car behind us, And he's like, I see what you mean, man. That scared me to death. And they're the size of the truck, This convertible, he flipped he hits the moose. It flips over into the car, takes out the front windshield, lands in the back seat area. It's hanging over. He wakes up freaking out. And it's trying to get up, and it just kicks him. His back legs trying to get up, just kicks him to death. Just murders him right there. Walks away, gets up, and just runs away. Like they were like, that's the best we could figure out. Just gauged on what happened. Like it almost went underneath the moose, like it had been lined up right, but he clipped the legs, flipped it over there. And he's like, there was like all the hair and fur and stuff they found, and of course the guy, you could tell his head been kicked in by a moose.
Yeah.
All the horror stories that I've heard. The Alaska Magazine used to put some out. One of the worst ones was they were like, we really need to look into this. And I was, they were joking about it. There was a year when the polar bears were starving, and it was a small village, and this guy and his wife were in the house, and the bears were coming into the village. Now, this is a village. Like, this is wet in the north. There's probably like 5 people in the whole thing, kind of a deal. Mm. His wife is pregnant. They're scared that the bear is going to come through the house, or they were outside. I can't remember which one it is, but he was like, the smartest thing we can actually do is throw you on the roof. So he throws her on the roof, and then he goes for help. He's gone 10 minutes. I mean, the whole endeavor she's saying is like 10 minutes. When she was screaming for the other tribesmen or the other areas, and they came running over with their guns, and they never found the bear, but they found a skeleton that had been licked clean in a 10-minute time frame. They said that these bears were starving so bad that they had peeled this guy completely.
They're hunting in a pack because polar bears are the only bears that hunt in packs.
And who wants to walk in on that, right?
Dude.
But everyone's like,
yeah, they're good hunters.
did he actually run away from her? Or she kick him off the roof? I wonder what this was. There's all kinds of stories.
He's on the front porch. What?
I remember I've probably told you the story. I don't remember. My very first fishing trip. When we got to look up the distance between North Pole and Homer, Alaska. Let's see what the distance is from that. Actually, you can ask Grok. Actually, I'll do that.
It's like 8 hours for driving.
I want to say it was
might be longer.
More like 12.
Yeah, it sounds more like it. It's 8 hours to Anchorage, and then it's another. 3 or so.
It was it was a day. I'm sorry, I could have looked it up on Grok, and I meant to. I wasn't known if we were going to go this far.
Yeah, go ahead, I'll figure it out.
So we get to Alaska. We just barely got there. This was, I think, the second time we were around because I was starting middle school, high school. I can't remember which one it was. I really don't remember. We had just got there, and some of the soldiers that he was with had chartered a boat, and two of the guys couldn't make it, so they had 2 extra seats. And they were just offering to people to, sell the tickets to, even out the money and even out the boat. And so he's like, yeah, I'll take them. And he asked me, he's like, hey, you want to go halibut fishing? And I'm like, hey, I'm a big fisherman. So when we lived on the Air Force Base.
It's 10 hours.
It's 10 hours. Okay.
10 hours and 22 minutes.
We did it in 12. I remember, it's probably because we stopped for food and stuff. Because I remember it being something crazy.
That's a long drive.
That's a one-way drive to go fishing, which, people do it. But it was a one-day fish trip. It wasn't like your multiples. We stayed overnight and came back the next day. When we were on base, I used to ride my bicycle off the base, go down the road, and catch my limit of 21 fish every day that Mom would let me. Until she finally told me to stop putting fish in the freezer. She was like, stop bringing fish home. Usually like 60 fish in the freezer kind of thing. Well, because it was Arctic grayling.
Pike or a pain in the butt to try to fillet.
No, those never made it home. We cut their heads off and throw them back. Yeah, it was always like Arctic grayling, which now you can't catch. I don't believe. I think they're got a lot of.
It just varies because like every 2 years.
Rainbow trout would be like
change.
A couple pounds. They're beautiful fish. They're great meat and all that. So I was a big fish. I loved fishing. When I learned how to fly fish, or when I learned what fly fishing was, it changed my life, kind of a thing. So I'm like, yeah, let's go halibut fishing. No problem. That's a big fish, right? I don't know anything about it. I have no clue. I'm in the 6th grade. I want to say I'm in the 6th grade. This is when we had first got back, when we'd pushed back up there or something like that. I can't remember. We go down there. It's a 10. Yeah, it was like 12 hours. We'd stop to eat, relax, all that kind of thing.
Valdez is only 7 hours away.
Right, because all of our deep sea trips were always. I remember them being like a 7-hour thing, and that's when we finally. So this is my very first chartered fishing trip ever in my life. I swear to God, it was a 14-foot boat.
No way.
It was the smallest thing ever. I want to say.
Homer? That's like in the ocean.
It was. Well, no. We were in the ocean.
So I'm saying Valdez is in a bay. And then you go out to the ocean.
Oh, let me tell you.
Homer is
if we have time, I'll tell you my
no bay.
I'll tell you my Bay Valdez story if we have time. Which I'll connect it to this one, I guess. We get it's probably like an 18-foot boat, but I'm looking at this thing like this is the smallest. Oh, I'm sorry. This one was the 18-foot. Because it's
still small.
No, it was itty bitty. Like my dad was like, I remember because dad was like,
a truck is that length.
Right. It was tiny. We could not. You could get on top, but you couldn't go out in the front. So you had to be just in the little main area there. 15-foot swells. You want to know how I know that? Because I never knew what a swell was, and I never knew anything like that could be that tall. It was the biggest thing in my life. We drove 4 hours out to the sea. Okay.
From Homer?
No. From Homer. We were in Homer, and we drove out. He's like, we got to go out. He's
Why
like,
did you go out that far?
4 hours out. He knew the fishing spots. I don't know. And I think what it was is we did 2 hours, fished, then 2 hours, then came back in, fueled up, went 2 hours out, if I remember correctly. But this was a long time ago. I think that's what it was because I remember them. It's just what they were talking about.
4 hours later, you're in Ketchikan.
No. Yeah, right. I was delusional because the only thing I was doing was chumming.
Oh yeah.
He was like, you're not. The captain was the epitome of what you picture an old, rusty, crusty, mean, old, grumpy captain was, right? Yeah. He wasn't a jerk. He was just like, I'm not drunk, so I'm not happy. Kind of stuff. I think really what it was is I got a kid on board, probably kind of thing, which I was quiet when I wasn't blowing chunks because I was trying to sleep. I want to say this was like 6th, 8th grade range, something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And I was trying to. So here's the thing. He's like, why don't you go up top? And maybe that'll help you. You get a little more air. Maybe you won't be as sick. I'm sitting on the top of this little tugboat that's doing this now. Because he had to hit the swells at an angle. And then a couple of them, he would just ride up them. He'd get up to an angle, then he'd surf back, kind of a deal. And then we're like, and then we got out to calmer waters, okay, where we could actually fish. So it was just like for a while, which felt like forever.
Especially when you're puking nonstop.
And I couldn't keep food or water or anything down. Like I just wasn't, And of course, Dad, the jerk that he is, just standing like a freaking rock.
Yeah.
Like, isn't this the greatest day ever? I'm like, shut up, Hank.
Yeah, he never gets seasick.
He was just like, this is awesome, So we get out there. He puts what I swear was like a 10-pound weight on the line. And the line is like, cable. It's not even a piano wire.
Rope.
It's rope on a 4-foot rod, right? Because it's halibut.
Yeah, real thick rod.
And we drop it down for all of eternity.
500 feet.
400 feet was what we did. Yeah. And that was when the line was enough, kind of a concept, and we thought you would hit. But here's the thing. So it is literally, he's like, yeah, just drop it down. He's like, you got 600 feet of line there. You're okay. And I'm like, what? Cool. Like, I can see the rod, man. Like, this isn't stopping, It's just flying. And it gets down there and it just stops. Yeah. Then it kind of hops a bit. And then it stops, right? So you've got your bait on this beautiful rig he had set up. You've got like a half a fish on the thing. It's like, I'm like, I could just eat this bait and be happy.
The bait alone is like a giant
I'm like, this is
salmon.
Like, could we not go catch the bait? Because that looks like fun, It is down there. It is 400. He told me 400 feet. Okay. And I was like, I don't think it was that far. Maybe I'm just thinking it was wrong. But then I was like, no, I looked it up. Yeah. What I want to say was a 10-pound weight. The current and the undertow underneath that depth would pull on that sucker like you thought you had somebody on it. And you're sitting there and he's like, don't pull on it. He's like, just let it sit. And he'd tug. And he's like, you want a big, long draw. Okay, well, the boat's moving, the undercurrent's moving, everything. I'm a kid. I'm half dead. And like, that's a bit, he's like, well, reel it up if you think it's a fish. I'm like, I don't want to do anything if I don't think, He's like, go ahead. So you'd reel up 400 feet.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there. He's like, well, you got nothing. Good job. And like this guy was like a total, just like you could tell, like he's just like a crusty old fart, So finally, I get on there and I get that big long draw. I'm like, okay, that's the difference. Now I know. Oh my God. It was 100-pound halibut when I got it up.
Dude.
It was the fightingest sucker you ever felt when you're a dumb little kid who's half dead from puking all day. You're still moving around that boat and it's not life. You hate seasick. Yeah, you get seasick. You hate it too. So,
I took motion sickness medication for 3 days straight and still got seasick.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was eating that thing like it was freaking Lifesavers candy.
I take two an hour before, one right on the trip when we go, and then I'll take another one an hour after the trip, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
The last time. I don't know about now. Now I probably can't even look at water without barf. Anyway, so I'm fighting this sucker to get him back up. Or to get him up, right? I'm like, you're dead. Okay, I'm a kid. It's 100 pounds with a 10-pound weight on it. Currents are pulling. He's pulling. You're getting a couple inches. He's taking 4. It's the basic fisherman thing. Except I'm just a dumb kid who's pulled, 2 pounds silver, 2-pound red rainbow trout.
You've been throwing up everything you ate for the last 18 hours.
Yeah. And it's like, eat some crackers. It'll make you feel better. So
ginger beer, you'll love it.
It's good. Yeah. So it's like this big psychotic, just kind of like issue because everybody's like, yeah, cool, you got one, and they're the guys are great. Everybody's cool. I was just on my own because I was like, I don't want these guys to have to sit there and listen to me puke all day. Even though they're soldiers, they're like, yeah, we knew that last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm pulling this fish up. It's a slow fight to get him up to the water. Dad hammers one. He's got one on.
I'm a fish.
It's so cold in this room. Dad's got one on. He's pulling one up. His was like 160 pounds. So I get mine up.
The things get 5 feet long. They're huge.
And these ones were like, I'm sure there's pictures somewhere. I'm not sure. But they're like, mine was like 4 feet. I think Dad's was around 5 feet. I get the fish up. He's like, that's beautiful. This is good size. He's like, that's good meat. Don't pull its head above water. You'll spook it. I was like, what? He goes, keep its head below water 4 inches. Give me like 4 inches, don't pull its head above water. You'll freak out. And he says, and it'll shoot back down. And I was like, oh, God, I'm half dead. I'm like, I am not fighting this thing again. He's like, just keep it right there. He's got a gaff in his hand. And I'm like, okay, he's just going to pull it in the boat. He pulls out a 44 Magnum, sticks it at this part of there's a sensor on its head where the fish is this big, man. You can just poke it with a knife and it's like done.
They're very
they're
flat.
They're flat. Yeah, they're bottom feeders. They fly. They just kind of swim on the bottom. They can eat an entire monstrosity of 5.
It's the size of a
10-pound
kitchen
fish.
table.
Yeah.
But thin.
Yeah, and a big mouth. And its eyes mutate and they go up to the top part of its head. So the bottom part of the fish is brown, dark, and the top part is light.
Yeah.
You throw the dark meat away because that's the wormy, bad part because I guess it never had sunlight. It doesn't develop. The meat tastes bad is what they say. So they'll try and use it as bait or they'll just toss it away. Our captain tossed it away. But he's like, don't pull its head above water. Pulls out this 44 Magnum, which we lived with, so we know what it looks like. Yep. I'm like, what is he doing? Oh, he's going to kill it. Cool. Bagoo! It shot straight down in the water. I swear to God, 200-300 feet. He just took off. The reel is like, woo! I'm like, looking at him. And he's like, all right, man. Yeah, let it get a little bit of line dragged out kind of thing. I'm like, you reel him up. I was ready just to go to sleep because I was half dead.
See, normally they use like a 410 shotgun to shoot them.
He knew. I mean, he put that barrel right on its head. Like he knew right where he was doing it, I guess. And he could have missed for all I know. I don't have a clue. There's some sensor that they have that just dazes them and it gets to where it takes the fight out of them. Yeah. But I guess they have to die first, I guess. But the thing is, when you shoot a fish that big at that point, like it just goes through them like a 22 and a watermelon or something. It's not a big deal. The fish went right through him into the water. But I'm reeling him back up again. And I'm in pain. My muscles are shot. They're gone. I'm 110 pounds, maybe, I'm just like, and I'm still puking. I hadn't stopped puking, but I was like, okay.
Yeah. You reel and you,
that was literally, so it was you pull up and barf. That was the routine that I remember that because you want to keep that line tight. You can't go. So you're like, and then the fish couldn't really get off these hooks. My understanding was the way they were designed. Huge it really hooks. Did hold them. Yeah, the big, and they're spirally weird things that kind of go. But my thing was like, crap. I realized like I'm ready to give up. And I remember this moment. This is the only time in my life I've ever thought this. I'm standing here with my dad and these are his soldiers. I can't like wuss out on him right now. And I'm like, God, I hate this so much. And I remember just going, I hate all of this. And I'm reeling that sucker. And we got him in the boat. We did. I mean, it was painful. It was long. I'm just like, you literally are just pulling and then as fast as you can, reeling and going down. And I got into a rhythm when the boat would rock. When it would go up, that's when I would pull up. And then when the boat would go back down, that's when I would reel. And I remember just going, that's the rhythm I could do because it gives me a little bit of a breather. It looks like I'm doing something. Kind of a deal. The captain, and I'm going to tell you, this dude is like silver-haired, thick knuckle, kind of like just stout. He's like a little bit taller than I am. It's, just stout. Gets a gaff in that thing, lifts it right up out of the water. And I'm talking, this is a 100-pound fish. And throws it right into the tank, right into the well. Okay, so this is where we store them. And he basically just put it in there to let it kind of kick and fight out. It's like it was a monster. I sat down in a chair inside the cabin area and watched Dad pull his fish in. I think they said his was like 160 pounds, if I remember correctly. It was much, much bigger than mine.
Yeah.
And he was the whole time, like, I'm pretty sure he was like smoking a cigar, like happy. Like, he's just like, yeah, this is live. This is what, I'm back home. Because I think we had just got back to Alaska, I think is what it was. And he was so excited about it. I can't remember. No, because he wasn't in the military. That's right.
Yeah,
it was our first time up there then.
First time there, yeah.
And it must have been, maybe it was when
I was in the 5th grade, you were in the 8th grade.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
No.
It was his last year in the service.
When we
was retiring that
first
year.
Got there, I was in the 5th grade because that's when I was at Badger Road.
When we first got there, I was in the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember. Anyway, so he gets his in. When they cut my fish open, that was the part I was interested in because he was like, let me show you how to gut it and what you do. Because that's when he told me you throw away the dark meat, which I never do. And the other two guys caught some stuff too down the way, but I slept from that point on. There was I don't even remember getting off the boat.
No fight left in you.
No, I was done. I was completely spent. So that to me was, and like he cut my fish open. There was he's like, oh look, he has not finished with his dinner kind of thing. There's this big bleached white carp inside of it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's a carp. He's like, he was eating good, kind of a deal. I wonder why he went after your food kind of thing, just being dumb. And he's probably thinking I'd puke more because I'm just looking at this bleached fish, but it was the coolest thing I ever saw. And he's like, you've got some great meat here. He threw the meat in the well and the other guy's stuff on it too. And we divided it all up. And it was thousands of dollars worth of meat. on the market because it was going for like $17 a pound. You know, that was like 60 pounds of meat. Dad's was probably like 90 to 100 pounds.
Yeah, freaking halibut fillet will run you lots of money.
And the guys had brought in theirs too and all that. But we took it all home, beer battered it, and hooked it up. That to me was my first sea trip, and I thought would be my last. Years later down the road when I'm there down there before I had moved to Japan, buddy of mine's like, hey, you want to go halibut fishing? I'm like, I swear to God, I said, no. He asked me 2 questions. Dip netting? You want to go dip netting? I said, no. We'll talk about dip netting one day because we need like 3 hours to do that story. And he says, do you want to go halibut fishing? I'm like, God, no. I really don't. And it was because of the ocean. Like, I loved fishing. It was because of the ocean.
Seasickness sucks.
He's like, no, look, they got this charter and all this. And so he has this pamphlet. We're working for the military. The military has programs where they take soldiers out. You know, you're taking them all over the world. So they have deals where they'll take them out and just get them off the base and let them see life. And so you can go to concerts. They'll drive you to, different kinds of trips and events. And all. There's wonderful programs. Beautiful thing. The one in Alaska is one of the most sought after because it's Alaska and people are terrified to go out there. But if you get the Army to drive you on a beautiful bus and all this kind of stuff, it's great. He's like, they got a boat. And so this pamphlet is, and there's a reason that this exists. This pamphlet has a group of guys standing on this big dock with all these halibut laying down. And they're like, the perfect size halibut is 25 to 45 pounds, right? That's kind of the basis because the meat gets grainy and wormy and kind of,
40 to 60 pounds.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that you can sell. Like, I remember the captain telling me you can sell that for like the 22 mark, versus the usual 17 kind of range. That was what it was. And I'm sure it's different prices now. This was years ago. So I'm like, and all these big, beautiful boats are behind them. Like, this is a very military staged picture because they do it right. They know how to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Like when I had the ambassador, to Japan come to mind.
Very snug. It makes me feel secure.
Oh, when you get that zipper and put it all in your face, it's so cool.
My autism likes this.
Just watch the beard because I've done that. This is the worst. I had the ambassador come, like they would come through my building. And they're like, okay, get rid of all your trash cans, get rid of all these things. And there's no kids in here, all that kind of thing there. And they just moved and rearranged your whole world because they know how to do photo op stuff. They have professionals for it. And that was when I learned that everything about that was stupid and dumb.
It's all fake.
I was like, my kids aren't going anywhere. He's like, look, do you know who I am? I said, do you know who I am? Because I don't care about you. Literally, this is the guy that's in charge of all this stuff. I said the ambassador is going to see kids. Okay, I mean it's Japan. She's a woman. It was JFK's daughter. And he's like, she's going to want to see kids. Okay, so back off, kind of thing. And the general was there, and he's like, yeah, this is a kids program. We're not throwing kids out of here. I'm like, yeah. The general's kids in my program, buddy. Back off. Yeah, I know who I can mess with. So anyway, the general's actually from a different base, but so I'm like, I love fishing. I love going out with him because he's nuts. So this dude was one of the favorite people in my life. And when I say he was nuts, he was nuts. We would be driving down the road, and if he'd see a deal of water, he'd be like, let's fish it. Let's go. Stop, pull over. Okay? We'd throw lines in there, we'd catch fish, or we wouldn't. Okay? Mm-hmm. If he wasn't catching fish, he'd spit his chewing tobacco on his hook and throw it out in there. I swear to God, it works. I swear to God, it works. It's insane.
They don't even do that here in the South.
He's like, fish on. I'm like, no, because when you're fishing where we were, bait was the best, flies were the best. I'm like, I fly fish, dude. I don't like to bait fish anymore. I don't like to salmon egg fish anymore. So, but where we were going, you couldn't cast a line. Then you just driving down the road, going somewhere else, talking to you. Stop! Stop! You pull over and he just take off into the woods. He would get it. I'm not lying. This would happen so many times. He would take when he had to poop, it was the second it was coming to end. It was like, this is the real fruition of what's happening. And then he would just pull moss out of the ground and then come back. I'm like, okay, keep toilet paper in the bag in my bag. He's like, don't need it. He's like, I never know what's going to happen. And when it does, it has to happen right then and there.
He has IBS then.
He was hilarious. He's one of the coolest kids
coming out like liquid. He ain't going to stop it.
He was, like I said, he's that farm boy. Like zero body fat, very healthy. Yeah. When he was in college, he ate turkey and deer because that's who to go hunt and kill. And the kids were like freaking out because he was like eating Bambi and stuff like that. He said they couldn't handle it. He had a garden that he grew food in. Anyway, so he wants to put this trip together. He's a fishing fanatic. We go on this trip. We show up. There's a third guy who's part of the program where all three of us are directors, and he shows up just like full khaki. Okay, I remember this guy. He was just a different character, right? Yeah. He was not an Alaskan. He was just out of nowhere. I just looked at him
Was
like,
this in Valdez or where was this at?
well, the trip was in Valdez. Yeah, we're still on the base. What is we're meeting together and we're doing the typical Alaskan thing, taking 2 vehicles in case one breaks down because we're driving 7 hours. There's nobody between
pre-cell phone days.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think at this time we did, but yeah, it's
flip
bad.
phones
You won't
probably.
have. Yeah, it was flip phones, and you may not have signal
cell
where we're going.
service out there.
And I'm looking at him. He's full khaki. He's full like as I did tour
Like-
guide Barbie throw up on you, and
Like
he's like,
Steve Irwin.
"This is practical." Yeah, like pants, but it's all like long sleeve and pants underneath. But this is practical. I'm like, practical for what? When I was like, oh, I can see where this is going. Is he going to bring his blow dryer and his his primp kit?
Are you a Royal Ranger?
I went hiking, rock climbing in Yosemite National Park with a Army Ranger who was one of their special teams. Big, thick, swole, buff dude. We put up he had a 3-man tent. We just stayed in this 3-man tent. And he pulls out, those little like kits that you travel with a toothbrush. And you put your shampoo and your soap in. This is an Army Ranger, big buff dude. We're in the middle of the woods on a rock climbing trip in Yosemite National Park. Beautiful places ever. And he hangs this thing up. And it just unfolds. And it's like all of his little,
accoutrement.
like his primping stuff there. And I'm like, did your wife pack for you? And he looks at me like, sometimes she likes me to leave with stuff, and sometimes she doesn't know, kind of thing. So it was just like one of those deals. I was like, oh, I'm going with this campsite was beautiful because it was that one, and I love that that I discovered they existed because we didn't have a clue. They had mobile homes out there, like 3 and 2 bedroom mobile homes, like this big, like just parked there, and you rented those. So you had heat, and you had nice bathrooms and stuff like that for it and all. And they were basically like camper units that were plugged in.
They don't get 60 below zero down there.
Correct. It is not. Yeah, and you're only there in July anyway, so it's warmer than normal. So, so we go down there. We go down to the pier, and we're told to meet the ship's captain and the deck mate, or the guy, the manager who's in charge, I guess, was who we were supposed to meet, and he was going to introduce us to everyone. So we're walking down the pier, the docks, and we're looking at all these big, beautiful, gorgeous boats. We get to the end. I remember this because we're like, man, these are gorgeous. I don't see MWR. I don't see military anything. And we walk back up, and we're like, this can't be it. I swear to God, it's like 2 bathtubs glued together. Like this was the 14-foot boat. Okay, that I had remembered. That's what I was talking about. So
2 bathtubs glued together.
It was like the smallest thing you ever saw. There's 3 of us, the captain, and then the deck mate, who's the manager, who's the deck mate. So he's the one that's in charge. So there's 5 of us on a boat that can hold 3 if one of them is a child and 2 feet tall. This was the worst. I said, we're not getting in this boat. And he's like, the guys are like, we're already counting down here. I'm like, yeah, I would rather pay money to charter one of these guys over here and bail on this. So we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we had a date. We had a time specified to meet them at the boat. It's always 5:00 in the morning range, really butt early. An hour later, he shows up.
Jeez.
An hour later. Oh, sorry guys, I had some work and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, that means hungover. That's what it means. I know where you are. Yeah. I know the location. That means hungover. So I'm like, we were pissed. We were furious, right? Like, we've already lost an hour, and that takes forever to get out to the ocean. Then he's like, oh, we gotta go. We gotta go fuel up. He puts us on. There's no chairs or seating on this boat. They had removed all the seating to put a heater in the boat, but the heater didn't work. We're like, wait a minute. We're just standing the entire time. He had a fold-out seat for the captain to sit on.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's like some little weird bench thing that we just sat on. It's like a table or something we just sat on. It's like a little prep thing. And he's like, we got to fuel up first. We're just going to go fuel up real quick. We blew another hour.
Oh, yeah, it takes a while.
Driving out, waiting, going in, fueling up, going back.
Waiting your
we
turn.
went back and then picked up the captain, I think is what it was, because he had the captain going out to do something, right? So he didn't actually, I don't think he had the ability to leave the bay. I think like the captain had the license. Military regulations are always weird, and you have to have special hours for everything. And I remember that conversation somewhere down the road. He's like, oh, I don't have all my hours. You have to leave the bay. So we're going to pick up the captain. I'm like, we're going back to pick up somebody else? Like, who's going to fit on here, Big 6'4" tall, nicest guy you ever met. The Guy drove oil riggers, the big monsters that carry all the oil barrels. He drove that for a living. Well, I got to talking to him afterwards. He did teach me one cool thing, which we'll get to. Anyway, so we're already 2 hours and something late getting out on this halibut trip, okay? Now, for those who know, halibut...
That's after a 7-hour car ride.
Well, we stayed the night. We drove 7 hours, got there at night. We went after work, got there at night, slept, woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So you're right. We're not really all there. You're correct. But, we're sitting around the fireplace the night before for a little bit, Jack John and stuff. And we were going to stay anyway. So we finally get to where we're getting out to the water. And we're in, like you said, we're in the bay. The only thing in the bay are rockfish. Rockfish are useless. They have like 3 ounces of meat on them.
They're cool to look at.
They're great to look at. Problem is when you pull them out of the water, you kill them because their eyes blow out of their head and all that kind of stuff. And they're beautiful fish. But they hang around on the rocks. You don't like to fish near rocks. It's not fun to fish near rocks because you get snagged, you get hooked up and stuff. I'm like, halibut are out there. And I'm pointing out to the ocean. Oh, we can't go out there. It's too dangerous. It's too blustery. What? It's as calm as life can be. I could swim it. Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's what you do as a charter.
It's because he's in a 14-foot boat.
Yes.
And he just doesn't care. It's what we got down to. So we're catching rockfish, which I quit fishing. I was like, I could do this anywhere. I didn't pay money to go halibut fish. Halibut fishing isn't. You have to be out in the ocean to halibut fish. I have caught. I caught a beautiful 17-pounder one time while we were fishing for silver, and I think it's probably because they were coming in and feeding on the silver salmon. But it was like a rare thing. It wasn't something we expected. That's on a whole different trip because trust me, we caught nothing.
Yeah.
So the guys are pulling in rockfish. They're throwing them in the well, and I hear, "Oh crap!" This is like hours later. I hear, "Oh crap." And we look over and he closes the well door and he just kind of walks over towards the captain. And he didn't want to say, "Oh crap," out loud.
Yeah.
So Maddie will not hold back. He'll tell you to your face, "You're stupid. I don't want to hear you talk again. Shut up." That kind of a deal,
Yeah.
And he was the nicest guy on the planet, but he was like, "I don't have time to put up, It was his ADD, He opens the well up. There's an entire gallon bottle of bleach that was knocked over into the well. And the lid was off.
Oh,
he
my
bleached the well. Went to go to the captain to go talk to him about how he could preserve this situation. There's 8 fish in there, maybe something like that. Which I could care less about rockfish. It's good meat, but it's just very tiny and it's a waste of time. And
Tons of bones.
Yeah, you only keep a little tiny bit of the belly or something. I can't remember. I can't even remember. When you go halibut fishing, you go out into the ocean and you fish halibut. You don't sit around the bay,
Yeah.
And again, this was a very.
And if you're in the bay, you're catching silvers, not freaking rockfish.
Yeah, there was not a season for it when we were there because that's a very short season it's like a 2-week season to catch silver, which we did every year after that, But anyway, we had a very long argument back and forth, sort of like trying to reason with him that, look, it's not far. We don't have to go but 20 minutes out past the bay. And at least there we could catch something we can eat, kind of a thing, which I guess is good we didn't because he just ruined everything by dumping bleach into the well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't imagine driving that far to not actually go halibut fishing when it's just right there.
It's right there.
It's like,
everybody else is going out that way. Everybody else is shooting out there.
30 minutes, you're fishing for halibut.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And 1,000 things happened on this trip that were so bad that we could not. I said, well, look, it's kind of cramped. Let me go up to the front of the boat.
Can't believe you bleached your fish.
Yeah. So he dumps the well because he has to.
Yeah.
And closes it up. He's like, well, it's not a big deal. They would have been okay, but I just don't. I was like, no, nobody here is eating bleached fish. Yeah. Not at all. We're talking, I don't know how much was in the gallon, but he had elbowed it. He was cleaning something, elbowed it, knocked it over, but didn't notice.
Yeah.
And we didn't notice. We're looking out at the ocean, because, we're elbow to elbow. It's nuts to butts in the concept kind of a deal. Like it's a reverse. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go up to the front of the boat at least and I'll fish there. And I'm trying to get towards the water. I'll bass the bay. Oh, you can't go in the front of the boat and fish. What are you talking about? There's a whole area up there where you could stay. Like that's what it's for. No, you're not allowed to go up there and fish. I'm like, now, is that the Army rule or is that your rule? You cannot go out there and fish. I was like, well, that's not what I asked you. Because I'm by the book and I know how to follow it. Now, if there's an Army regulation that says that I can't, then yeah, there's a regulation coming out, and I'm like, so you're making this up is what I'm thinking. Kind of, I'm just done with this guy. I'm finished. You're already like 2 hours late. You're done. Like that to me is like the boys would not go and charter another boat. I'm like, I'll pay for the whole thing. I'm not doing this. I'm getting on a real boat. These guys are right here. I'm sure we can get them for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And the guys, wow, well, they're we just want to, so I'm sitting in the deck talking to the captain. I didn't care to fish anymore. I'm done with it. These guys were new. They, new to Alaska area. So I'm like, 1,000 things happened. It was just a terrible trip. We get back into the bay. Oh, well, guys, I'm in here. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm walking away from him. He's talking. But the captain said, I want to at least take you, because they had caught more fish. He's like, at least let me flay your fish for you. Don't pay anybody to do it. I'll take you over this. It is an area where they would go over there and they would flay them. And he taught me something that I had never seen before. And that's where I was talking to him about more in-depth stuff. He basically was an alcoholic, lost his license to fish the oil riggers, was trying to get it back. He knew this guy who was the director of this program, and he called him up and said, hey, can you do me a favor? I lost my job. And he's offered him a job, kind of thing. He said he's got a temper. He's an alcoholic too. He's struggling out here. His family's not here. He's by himself. I think he was divorced, he said, or something of that nature.
Couldn't imagine why.
So it was the whole kind of deal. This guy taught me how to cut the neck. He said, you want the throat of the fish. That's the best meat. And I'd never heard that before. I was like, no, we always just either flayed ours, or if it's big enough, we'd steak it, kind of a thing. I was like, I never did. And he showed me, and he grabbed the throat and he would cut around. And he's like, this big area. It's a small little niblet, but it's like, people eat like a liver or something.
It's like halibut cheeks.
There you go. Halibut cheeks. That's the great way to describe it.
That's the best part of the fish.
Of the halibut. And he was like, this is the best part of these, of most fish, And I think what he was doing, he was cutting up a few of the silvers that they had caught, some of the smaller fish they had caught. They're probably like, 4 pounds kind of range, and 4 or 5 pounds. So we go back, we set up campfire and all that. We're getting going. It's getting dark, as dark as it can get. And this little girl that we had talked to on the phone and set up the trip with, she registers her. She shows up on a bicycle and she introduces herself. We're like, oh yeah, we blah, blah. And we're, like I say, we're all directors in the military. We love each other. Like, we're not going to trash each other. We're not going to, we're going to help each other out 100%. We literally do. Like, it was a great camaraderie. She goes, hey guys, how'd that go?
Oh, she knew. You knew.
She 1,000% knew, and she's like, I couldn't say anything on the phone. We got it. Like I said, we offered her a beer, sat down with her.
So when you say little girl, you don't mean actual.
I'm sorry, college kid. Yeah, we're old. Yeah, college kid.
It's a
I'm
9-year-old.
sorry.
Let's get her drunk.
Yeah, she's this little itty bitty college girl. She would work there in the summers, save money, and then go to college. And at that time, and she was just the sweetest little thing ever. Yeah, I see a kid. She's probably 22, 24, something like that. So she sits down with us, and she's like, "Okay, well, what happened? Because I know he got there late because he was lit last night, so he probably slept in, so he was hungover." And I said, why in the world can you not fish from the front of the boat? Oh, that's because of him. I said, and we're just kind of folding our arms and looking at her. And she's kind of like, he had a friend come over for his birthday. This was probably about a week and a half ago. He came over. They got drunk on the boat, which is against Army regulations. Of course, they're looking the other way because they can't get anybody to go out there and do that job. Especially on that tugboat, because everybody would laugh at him and walk away. Yeah, she says,
14-foot boat on the ocean is miserable.
They got absolutely they got overkill. Somebody got out in the water. We're drinking out in the water. She says, I was on the boat, and I was basically piloting the boat because they were hammered. His friend went up to the front of the boat, take a piss, and fell off. And from that point on, I had to report it because it was an injury and an accident on the boat. They stated that there's a new rule out there that nobody can go to the front of the boat, and he hasn't written that. The order hasn't come in. The memo hasn't come in on it yet. So She said it's that fresh that they're writing up the regulation for it and saying that nobody can do it anymore. She said, "So you guys catch any halibut?" I'm like, "Why? Have they converted to the bay?" She's like, "Yeah." She said, "You probably saw that wonderful brochure with those guys on the front of it with all the halibut there and the big."
And she's the one lining you up with the.
We would call, and she would be the one that registers us.
So why wouldn't she register with somebody who would help you catch halibut?
No, that's it. There's only them. It's going through the MWR charter. So
that's the only person they offer.
No, that's the Army's boat.
Yeah.
That's the Army's pilot, captain, director. So it's their program.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
he runs the campground. It's a beautiful military campground. He runs the campground out there, too, so that's kind of the thing. He should have never been on the boat. He really should have just been, managing the campground, let the captain go out and hire like that girl, hire some college kid to just bait hooks. Oh God, that literally came, that was the epitome of. So a long time ago, a friend of mine when I was in probably like, I don't know, 6th grade, 7th grade, went out deep sea fishing with this guy. And he said the captain was an absolute jerk. And I'm like, well, you're my best friend. You're a prick. I know you. So you had a lot to do with that. Because he was like hardcore sarcastic, which is where I got a lot of mine from too. And the guy was like, you don't touch the bait. You don't do nothing on the hooks or nothing like that. I'm the only one around here who baits anything. And he naturally out of nowhere being who he was. So you're the master baiter? And like he's like, I swear that dude wanted to punch me in my face. Like, I knew at that moment I'd gone too far, but yet I had kind of won.
I mean, you can't let that pass.
I remembered that story, and Maddie was the one who would take over. Like you couldn't tell him how to do anything. You couldn't tell him how to fish. You couldn't know how to hook with nothing whatever. He's like, I'll bait my own hooks. He's like, you don't touch my bait. Right, this is our ship, the one that we had chartered, the crappy one that we had chartered. Yeah. He's like, you don't touch my bait. These are my fishing poles. These are my hooks. This is my bait. I will bait your hooks for you. And I was like, instant flashback. So you're like the master baiter? And that was it. The guys both just faced out towards the sea, and they're like, okay. And I was like, I was tired of this guy. I was done with this guy anyways,
You had stopped fishing at this point anyway.
And I had pretty much stopped. And so we get back in there. She told us about all the junk that was going on. It was a nightmare. We have never trashed a program within ourselves. We never even think about it. We wrote like 2-page letters to the head of that entire department and said, you got to fix this. It was bad. It was horrendous. That was one of the worst fishing trips of my life just because I came back with nothing.
Yeah, bleach fish.
Yeah, and I remember the bleach fish and like throwing them over.
I get it. Accidents happen. But learn from your mistakes. Don't keep bleach near the well.
It was so bizarre. Like the whole thing, I don't know.
And why wouldn't he take you out halibut fishing? I can understand if it was rough water and a 14-foot boat. Yeah, I get it. But
it was calm as day. He said there's a storm coming in.
Oh, right. But it's 30 minutes.
We just need to go a little bit further out the water, buddy.
The storm doesn't travel at the speed of freaking light or anything. You can see it coming.
There was no storm.
Oh.
He did not. What am I hearing? Oh, I'm hearing you. He did not want to be there. He did not want to do the job. He was garbage. That was it. He was the epitome of garbage. It was just, and as people who, we're beaten, good directors, good customer service, blah, 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 take care, whatever. It was just like, this was a big kick in the face,
Yeah.
And we'll close out there. And the next week we'll talk about, we both have wonderful dip netting.
Oh, God.
stories. Yours climaxes mine, but
at least mine led to me meeting and getting married to my wife, which that was.
I don't know how it happened after that trip. So,
I don't know how I didn't just run away and never look back. It was like, are you?
I would have been burying bodies, and nobody would have cared. And next week we'll go over our dip netting stories and all that. And for the 5 people that might see this over the next 2 years, we'll go from there. So I appreciate you coming by. We'll see you later.